Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another USA basketball recap. It's the men's this time. They just secured their quarterfinal berth, the 103-86 win over South Sudan. We got Cardell Dudley Jr. here. I'm Wilson Tarpey Jr. Cardell, just your thoughts on this when we know they had the scare against South Sudan in the exhibition during their exhibition tour. I think no one was really shocked that it would look a little different this go round from the U.S. side of things, but I want to get your take on it.
Led with their defense, dominant. You know what I'm saying? It was beautiful basketball to watch in the first half, man. They led with their defense, just suffocated those guys. They made it a point that the point guard, Kareem, I don't want to butcher his name. Carlick Jones, my fault. Carlick Jones. He wasn't gonna do anything. He wasn't going to get off like he did in the exhibition contest where they almost beat him. They made sure they was going to take him out of the game, and they did a pretty good job, held him inefficient. He still got some numbers, 18 to 7 assists, but he was 8 and 19, and it wasn't nothing close to how he almost got a triple double. You know what I mean? In the first game, he had 4 turnovers. Their defense pretty much forced South Sudan to have to play one-on-one. And they tested their poise, and this goes to show you the difference with the experience of the USA, especially with the depth that they have compared to like South Sudan. That I believe this is their first Olympics in a while. You know what I mean? Especially being this talented, this is by far their best team. They tested their poise and their chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Because when things got tough, they went one-on-one. That's a sign of a team that's not quite there yet. And I think that's what the USA were banking on. Now, give South Sudan credit. They don't stop competing. They compete no matter what. They could be down 100. They still gonna be playing hard or whatnot. But like I said, the defense, for the most part, just overwhelmed them with the length, the athleticism, especially in the first half, the communication. I know Kevin was all over the place. It was big. Bam, Anthony Davis before he got his ankle messed up whatsoever. And then offensively, that fed into their offense. Offensively, man, it was just executing. So, straight up just executing. Everybody for the most part got good shots, man. They balanced attack. 6 players in double figures. Everybody scored. Everybody. Even in their limited minutes, and that's gonna be the key, man. The first game against Serbia, you can tell the USA just overwhelmed with offense, the efficiency and all that. This game was a defensive thing. So it's gonna be tough. They've proven in 2 games we could beat you any style. We can beat you through offense, or we could beat you leading with our defense. It's just how you want to play it. You know what I mean? And that's gonna be tough for a lot of teams to match up with, because as we keep saying, very few teams can match up with their depth. Well, no team can really match up with their depth. Maybe their starting lineup, or maybe top 6 or 7 can rumble, but once you get down to the end of the match, come on, man. You got all-star, NBA Liberty and NBA all-stars, all NBA players, champions that's at the end of that. And that's just tough to match up with, man. So eventually, teams going to break. And you saw that with South Sudan today. And the question moving forward is, will USA run into a team that won't break, where they really have to put them away? Remains to be said. But at this point, man, it looks like it's full steam ahead for USA, man. Bottom line. And one thing coming in, I was kind of worried about was the boards. And South Sudan won that 40-36. That's what I mean. Their motor and how they compete. They got 15 offensive rebounds, but which made it even more important for the USA's defense to be on point, because they were giving up extra boards, and that could have resulted in second chance points, keeping the game closer than what it has, than it should be. The turnovers were pretty close, 19-15. But like I said, man, the defense, man, the 13 steals from USA, 7 blocks, the efficiency in moving the ball. They shot 52% from the field, 43% from deep, 80% from the free throw line, which was huge, because I think against Serbia, they struggled from the line. And they got in the bonus early. That's another thing that allowed them to dictate things in the first half. But they had 29 assists as well. Look, anybody will tell you in basketball, it's easy to key in on a couple guys where they're gonna get their shots. It's hard to key in on a whole team, especially a team like this that can get it done 1 through 12. And so, South Sudan fought, but at the end of the day, man, as if kind of using a boxing term, as the fight wore on, they got worn down, and then it was just a matter of time. USA took them out.
Yeah, I think in the first half, 40 of Team USA's 55 points came from that bench group. Like that's what's been unfair consistently throughout these first two games. Like arguably that second unit, well, not even arguably, that second unit has packed a stronger punch than that first unit thus far. And that's not a knock on the first unit. But again, like you talked about defensively, it's unfair that you can roll out Bam and Kevin next to each other in a lineup where your bigs essentially, protecting the rim, covering ground, can switch out on whoever, get the boards, bring the ball up. You got the guards sprinting the floor in transition while the bigs are putting pressure on you. Opposing bigs, like you're in hell. That's Bam bringing the ball up. Like we know he does a. Think about how many like the role he plays for Miami. He's comfortable doing that. Kevin bringing the ball up, comfortable. We saw Kevin with the pocket pass, the AD, I think, in the third quarter of this game. You got a 4-5 pick and roll that ends up like that. That works out that beautifully. It's not awkward. It's comfortable basketball for the all parties involved. Yeah, that second group was crazy. Shout out to Derek White too. His contributions have been huge in both of these games too. But again, just going with that second unit, you mentioned they had 6 folks in double figures. What, 4 of them? Yeah, 4 of them came off the bench. Like you're talking about depth, right? Look at that group, dude. That group is a starting 5 could rumble, and you could take that group and rumble in the Olympics.
And you know what's cold? Kevin Durant had 14 points and was 2 of 5 from the field.
I was going. Thank you, because I was going to get there. How the hell you get 14 points on 5 attempts, man? And that's what I'm saying. Just the pressure that him and shout out to Bam knocking down the 2 threes, but the pressure those two and AD put on opposing bigs. Because you want to go help. You really do. But you got your own problems, and you got legit problems of your own to deal with. And kudos to all three of them for the way they were flying around. You mentioned Kevin when he came in. There's a couple times, because you saw it. Obviously, South Sudan, USA switching. You're going to get matchups where you got big on small in the paint. I thought AD, Kevin, and Bam did a great job of making sure, for the most part, none of their guards really got picked on because they were hovering. Even if you got there for a second, you felt their presence. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, that second group and Derek White was great. I did the starting group. Got to take a little bit better care of the ball for sure. I think LeBron's had 6 turnovers in both of these games. I'm sure he'll tighten that up. Sure they definitely need him to, and that'll go down a little bit as the chemistry improves and whatnot. But yeah, man, like you said, they're a lot for anybody to deal with, man. Like seriously, a ton for anybody to deal with. I think we got Cardell with some technical difficulties for the moment. I'm sure he'll be back. I saw Michael Kirksey in here. What's going on, man? Get your comments up in just a second. But yeah, let me know what y'all think what y'all thought about the first 2 games for the men's. Know we got women's tomorrow. So we'll get on that I think later tomorrow evening. And then, when Cardell jumps back in, we'll get to player of the game, X Factor. I think we're probably on the same page, Cardell, as far as player of the game, X Factor goes. But I want to ask you anyways, player of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bam. You hear me?
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bam. I just think he had the most impactful game all around on both ends. They really struggled with him, the pick and roll. They really struggled, dealing with him when he popped out for short jumpers, running the floor on the boards. They couldn't really match up with him, man. And there's a reason for that. It was hard to crowd the paint. You got all those weapons on the perimeter.
Yeah, like I think what is it? Is Eagle that's broadcasting with D Wade, like you mentioned it. You can't really afford to leave Steph or Book just because something's happening in the paint. I mean, you can, but your coach probably gonna be kind of hot at you for doing so. X Factor, it's a nice game.
See, this is where it gets tough. This is where it gets tough, man. Because LeBron had his impact, 12, 7 to 5 is all around impact, man. But the game shifted when Kevin got in the game. As usual, it shifted just like in Serbia, and it's hard to ignore that. And that's when the separation. It was close at first, and that's when the separation occurred when Kevin got in the game. Because of his scoring, and he put pressure on him by getting to the line, putting him in foul trouble and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You could look at the defense from Derek White, the hustle plays. It was tough, man. But I'm gonna have to get an edge to KD because that's when the separation happened when he came in the game, and he went right to work, and he was just aggressive attacking. And once he saw they was close to being in the bonus, he kept attacking, getting to the line. Got guys in foul trouble, forced them to have to make adjustments, and then it was over after that. Next thing you know, they up 15-20.
Again, I told you I probably agree with you. Yeah, that's 2 games for 2 different reasons. When he's been inserted to the game with that second group, that the game shifted, and I think we all could feel it and see it. And it shifted. It was a big shift in both of those games against Serbia, obviously for the offensive reasons. And this one is both ends. We talked about his impact defensively, but like you said, the pressure he put on South Sudan. We know how tall and athletic they are. We know the type of problem he presents to folks. Folks ended up in foul trouble immediately. And we saw that later in the game where I feel like a couple of those fouls early when KD first got in the game went to Will and Gabriel, and then later on Gabriel ended up fouling out, which was bad for him because he had to deal with Kevin, AD, and Bam as a whole. But you spent some of those fouls in that first half when they were trying to figure out life with Kevin was attacking, like you said, because they were in a bonus. But shout out to them for taking care of business and securing their berth to the quarterfinal. We had Kirksey in here.
What's going on, Mike?
He's going to share some of these because he fired off a few of them.
I mean, yeah, KD, he's a big difference anytime he win any team for sure.
Showing some love to Bam and then D White, obviously, and KD. But that bench mob that's not fair.
Come on, KD.
Like that group is.
You coming over with KD, Bam, and Ant-Man. That's your 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, with what's it called? And it's those 3 with Derek White and Jrue Holiday.
And Halliburton. And then make it worse, Joel Embiid didn't even play today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know people gonna be like, "Hey, what is it?" Be funny and stuff like that. What they've been saying on social media about him, but still, that's another threat. We know he's a force if he locks in and they really want to defeat him. He can be dominant. We know that. But like I said, 1 through 12, it's gonna be tough for teams. And honestly, looking at all the other teams in the Olympics, they already played Canada. To me, only France and Canada can really match up. They got the best chance. That's it.
Yeah, and even with that being said, like you mentioned, bro, it's still 1 through 12. They don't have 1 through 12. It's what I'm saying. As you go down, it's not the same. It's not the same thing. It's just not. And especially if this trend continues, how that second group's coming in and shifting the game. There's not another country in this competition that has a bench that could come in and do that to that degree. And I mean, like really shifting games on their head. You just don't have that option. And then you could plug some of those guys back into the starting lineup seamlessly as you need. Like it's a hell of an advantage.
Yes.
It's simply put, it's just a hell of an advantage, man. Like I was telling folks, we will check in with y'all tomorrow. It might be a little bit later after the women's play, but we'll check in with y'all as they play their second game. And, after they win, should they win, which is expected for them, obviously, they'll secure their berth. They will secure their berth to the quarterfinal as well, which again, it's just them taking care of business. But real quick before we leave, we had Kirksey hopping in. He mentioned Germany is possibly somebody to add to that group.
What's my man, point guard?
Schroeder.
Yeah, Schroeder and all those guys. I mean, they can be annoying, but it's still the same problem. I don't think they're as deep as Canada and France. But even then, they played them in exhibition. You saw what happened. You see what I'm saying? Like, even then, they only can go. I think France can probably. And when I mean matchup, like, all right, we have somebody that they have to be worried about. Not necessarily they're as good. So I don't want people to take that. Like, but Schroeder, okay, USA has Steph Curry and Drew Holiday. See what I'm saying? You go down, and then when you go down the list, it's just like Daniel Tice, okay, cool. Or Embiid, bam. See what I'm saying? Is Anthony Davis? It's tough. You cannot, Franz Wagner. That's fine. Yeah, hell of a great player, young player on the rise, future All-Star if he keeps it up. But he got to deal with LeBron and KD and Jason Tatum. See what I'm saying? Like, for every weapon that another team has, the USA has 2 or 3 guys that can match up with them or even better. That's why it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, and that's where the problem is they still have nukes. To whatever somebody presents to the table, and that's the issue, as you said. 1 through 12 is crazy. You said Canada looks like a well-prepared team, and just say, okay, it's time to take over and get to it. Talking about when those teams have played already.
But the way USA defends, they could take a couple of those guys. Like, for Canada to win, their guards got to go off. Like Jamal Murray and Shea got to get in there. Because Lou Dort's a deep. You need RJ Barrett as well to do his thing. It's tough. Like I said, it's tough because I just named a few players that they got to deal with on the other hand. That's why it's tough. To read right now, but they have gold medal match. I mean, I got to see how the brackets, I don't know, but that's why people thinking those going to probably be the top 2 teams is because France has something that the U.S. is the size. AD 6'10", KD about 6'10", 6'11", someone say 7 feet, but they, Bam about 6'9", you know what I mean? Joel 7 feet, but France have like 3 7-footers, and we all know Wemby is a different animal, and so is Gobert.
Yeah.
So the easy shots you would get inside against these other teams, you're not gonna get that. You're gonna have to really hit outside shots and stuff like that. And what if it's a game where they're off? And can you rebound the ball? Look, USA just got a rebound about South Sudan. That's honestly what kept the game close. So if they get out rebounded by South Sudan, what do you think it can happen with France? And then extra possessions for France. It's an issue. The problem with France is they don't have the guard play to match it with the U.S. And that's the thing. So, but they have the size up front and then, the versatility to kind of make it interesting. So it's going to be tough, man. But the U.S. got to stay locked in because, like I said, if they had one of those games where they can't hit shots from outside, it could get interesting, depending on who they playing.
Right, which is why it's imperative that defensive intensity we saw today for much of that game. Like, as long as they stay locked in on that end, they'll be fine, be able to get in transition and find some easy baskets, as you mentioned. But yeah, bro, France, that front court is stupid. It is what it is. There's no other way to say it. You mentioned Rui got active in the L. Yeah, Japan's been competitive as hell in all of their games. So, credit to them as a group. I forgot their I'm sorry, I watched a game the other day against France where they had France on the ropes in regulation, and then the silly foul late that helped France get in OT, and then Wemby and company kind of took care of things. I forgot the point guard's name, but I thought he did a great job in that one. Obviously Rui and Yuta are over there. Just mentioning Dennis the Menace with France, as you just touched on a little bit. And he was saying, yeah, you fight just to have a shot. And agreeing with you, yeah, it can't, things have the possibility of getting ugly.
And that's what I mean. That's all I'm saying, bro. It's just it's tough, man. Like you saying Germany, but one, they haven't really been tested. Like I'm looking at Germany right now. Wagner, you got Boyman at center. Tice. Those are your centers. How they gonna match up with Embiid, Bam, and you know what I'm saying? Embiid, Bam, and then Anthony Davis. They can't. Then you got Schroeder. He's used to it, but Ops.
Yeah.
Devin Booker and Ant-Man. And then your bench is the Wagner brother that used to play for the Wizards.
No.
Wagner, Isaac Bonga, former Wizard. Yeah, the bench can't match up with them, though. They don't have a chance, bro. But look, you look at France. Obviously, like I said, you got Nicholas Batum at the small forward, role playing veteran, can hit the three, athletic and defend. Wembanyama, you got Gobert, Evan Fournier. But obviously, can he match up at point guard with Steph and those guys, Halliburton and all that? Then you go to the bench. Yabusele got NBA experience, Koulibaly, Ntilikina from the Knicks, he there. And when you look at the bench, it's like, you see what I'm saying? So look, man, we all know it's a U.S. goal to win. It's just a matter of they stay locked in and don't take one of these teams for granted or whatnot, and give them life and give them belief. Because if you do, it can get dangerous. Because regardless of the lack of depth that say like a France may have, they do have a player that it's pretty hard to match up with that even the U.S. don't quite have a matchup for.
Right.
And that's where it gets interesting.
But again, as you said, that depth 1 through 12 is ridiculous. And right now, that change, whatever you want to call it, the change up, the counter, whatever you want to call that second group, right? That's a sledgehammer that they're using to hit folks in the head with, regardless of. We saw 2 games where we saw the starters start off kind of well against Serbia, right, and the bench, still coming and do what they did. And we saw the starters kind of struggle, and he put a whole 5 switch, whole platoon swap. And then next thing you know, you look up, separation, instant separation. Behind Bam and Kevin spearheading that second group. Obviously, Ant-Man, as you mentioned, that's again, I'm just beyond intrigued by that second group. They're just hell. I would love to see what those scrimmages look like if they get the scrimmages first group and second group. But leave that for another day. Appreciate y'all, man. We're checking with y'all several more times this week.